What's going on YouTube? My name is Nigel Schroeter, and I'm telling you guys today about authorized user trade lines. All right, today we're going to be talking about AUs, or authorized user trade lines. So I want you all to make sure that this is one of those videos. I'm going to tell you, get a pen and paper, be prepared for what you're about to hear. And if you're a person who has already bought an authorized user trade line, it's okay to still listen to this video because you're still probably going to learn something you did not know before. If you're someone who's had a situation with an AU and purchasing one or getting one from a family member, please go ahead and comment below and let everyone else know about your experience with AUs. I have never purchased one from a company, but I have used plenty of AUs, as well as sold AUs and given AUs out to others. So I just always feel that when it comes down to AUs, a lot of people are misinformed. So I like to make sure that I give them the proper information to allow them to succeed in what they're planning on doing. So let's go ahead and talk about it. What is an AU? An AU is an authorized user trade line. So a trade line is anything that you put on your credit report. An authorized user trade line means someone adds you as an authorized user to their account. So what does that mean? That means that, you know, your mother per se has a 20-year-old credit card for Wells Fargo, and you are new to credit, you don't have any credit. So your mother, she will add you to her credit card as an authorized user. This is not a cosign or anything. It does not give you any responsibility for the account. It's still your mother's account. She's just adding you to the account. Now she has the choice on whether or not she wants to give you the credit card to that account or not. And she can either choose to give you that credit card or she can choose not to. And once she adds you to that account, regardless, your credit report should reflect having that card on it if it's done properly. However, I'm going to go ahead and kind of give you guys a little bit more of the ins and outs on AUs. So the first thing is, like I said, if done properly. However, it doesn't mean that your mother didn't necessarily do it properly. Or whoever is adding you as the AU. I just use mom as an example. Like I said, it can be a complete stranger. It can be uncle, cousin. It doesn't matter. But thing one, that's the biggest misconception of AUs, is that AUs are mandatory to report. It's that if you put somebody on your profile as an AU, that is going to automatically report to your credit report. And that is not true. If you actually read up on the authorized user trade lines, neither the credit bureaus nor the banks are actually required to report AUs to your credit report. So when you're adding AUs to your credit report, just remember that they are not mandatory. It's not mandatory that they report. So even though someone adds you as an AU, they send you proof that they added you as an AU, and you've paid them, $1,000 for this AU. It does not mean it's going to report to all of the credit bureaus. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't mean it's going to report. Now, another issue that I see with AUs a lot of the times is they may report to one or two bureaus, but they don't report to all three. Again, because it's not mandatory that they report the AUs, it's also not mandatory that they report them to all three bureaus. So they can only report your AU to Experian, or only to Equifax, or only to TransUnion. If you paid for an AU service, then you've paid for it and it's been granted. So you can't really dispute that. If you try to go to your bank and get your money back or anything, because it's not necessarily the fault of the person who added you on their account as an AU, it's your fault. And then it kind of, or not your fault, but it's the bureau's fault. So you can't really hold them at fault. And then again, it's also your fault because you didn't have your report set up correctly to receive the AU, or you didn't purchase the correct AU for your report, because there's certain AUs that are not going to report for many different reasons. Maybe you don't have that address on your report. Maybe you chose to purchase an AU from the wrong bank, and or you may have something on your report that contradicts that AU, or you didn't give the person the proper information. Maybe your social was off or something else, and that caused it not to properly report. Now, going right to that and you choosing the proper banks for your AUs. I just got this in the comments yesterday, so I wanted to address this. And that is making sure when you add an AU that you're choosing the right AU. Try and do as much research on that bank and what those AUs are from that bank and what they report and what they have to offer. Because I've seen people that go and get AUs from certain banks. And American Express is the infamous one, because American Express no longer reports age to AU accounts. They report the age from the day you add the AU, not from the day the account was opened. So if you go and get a 20-year-old American Express AU, most trade line companies are not going to tell you it's not going to report 20 years of age. It's only going to report the credit limit and utilization if it's a credit card. Now, here's the other catch. If you put a charge card on to your credit profile and you add this charge card to your credit profile, you have to remember, charge cards don't have, I repeat, charge cards don't have utilization. So since they don't have utilization, it's just going to be reporting debt to your credit report every single month when they use that card and pay it back. And it's going to be reporting that that card's in good standing, but it's not going to be reporting utilization to your credit report. So just always kind of keep that in the back of your head. Like, okay, my AU, if I get an Amex charge card, I get no history and I get no utilization. So it's just reporting a card to my credit, and that's it. And it's going to look like it's a brand new charge card. Now, the next thing to think about is when you're adding these AUs, how are they going to benefit you and why are you adding these AUs? A lot of banks, yes, they will take the AUs, factor them into your credit report, and it will help you out with chances to getting certain types of credit cards or loans. However, a lot of the newer FICO models are starting to factor out AUs, as well as a lot of the banks are starting to come up with their own scoring systems, and they're factoring out AUs. So you have to be aware of this and be aware of whether or not your lender is going to factor that AU in anyway, because you may go spend all that money on an AU and it's still not come back and make you any money as far as, opening up those opportunities with interest rates or new credit products. And lastly, I want you guys to think about with AUs, when you're adding these AUs to your report, they may not report. So by them not reporting or not giving you the result that you want, I want you to take home with you, if nothing from this video, that you do not want to purchase AUs, like how you're going to hear a lot of the YouTube gurus tell you, oh, go buy this AU, go buy that AU. You don't want to purchase them, because for that, you could have put money into a secured card or secured loan or anything else. What you want to do is go and get an AU from someone that you know, if possible. If not, just build out your own report. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. See you guys.